afternoon, a very warm welcome to all of you. Now, if you are still hungover from all the drama, the thrill, the excitement, the disappointment, the joy that you experienced in this World Cup, don't worry, we are here to take you back to some of the big moments. Moments that have stood out, that have moved us, that have been etched in the history books forever. This has been a memorable World Cup, so let's go back and relive some of those memories. I'm here with with Ashok Malhotra, who joins us here on the show. Ashok sir, thank you so much for taking the time out. Today we're talking about the top moments in this World Cup, moments that that have stood out. We've discussed every match, previewed and reviewed every game. We've seen some big upsets. There have been some, last ball thrillers in this World Cup, and then of course England winning the big final. Before I get to the list of the top moments, is there one moment that maybe for others not be such a big moment, but for you has stood out?
See, as far as I'm concerned, India, I think losing the match it stands out for me because for once the top order failing, but the fact is Hardik Pandya coming of age. Hardik Pandya coming to the party in a World Cup semi-finals, and how he turned the game around. And for me, from an Indian's point of view, I think that is there. But if you talk about the real moment, I think Pakistan sneaking it into semi-finals.
Okay, Pakistan sneaking into the semi-finals, which is also one of the big moments for us as well. But we've got to begin with what has been the biggest moment for an Indian, and which is, of course, India versus Pakistan and Virat Kohli winning that match for India. And that has really been the standout moment for Indian fans, Ashok sir, because of course India would have wanted to go on to win the finals, but this match started it all and gave everybody the belief that they can go all the way. They did not, unfortunately. It also means that there are more questions now that need to be answered about this team. But this, in a moment itself, this was a wonderful, wonderful moment as an Indian to just see Virat Kohli turning the game around. I mean, we'd all but lost that game. It was a very, very difficult turnaround. And Virat Kohli, those 2 sixes, they've gone down in history as, 2 sixes that no Indian will ever forget. It'll go down with some of the other big moments that we've seen between India and Pakistan, in historic clashes.
Yeah, definitely, Mia. And the shot which he hit of Haris Rao over his head straight, I think it is short of the century. Believe you me, I've been a cricketer for a while, at least 30, 40 years. I don't think I can imagine a shot. Not me, I think every cricketer around the globe had no clue how this shot was played. It is unbelievable. It's something like with Shane Warne turned the ball and Bamboozled Mike. I think it's something like that. Haris Rao still doesn't know what hit. How can he hit a 6 of a length delivery, that too off the back foot, and that too, and that a huge MCG ground. So that was unbelievable. And I think for us, we won the World Cup there. We beat Pakistan, and Virat Kohli's knock was it? He announced his arrival, announced his comeback, and how. And now he's the highest run getter in the tournament. But for me, the best knock played by Virat Kohli in the entire tournament has been Pakistan. In 8 balls, we did 28 runs. I don't think if you have at that stage in 100 games, 99 times you're going to lose it. But that was the only time that Virat came to the party, and the way he hit Haris Rao, one of the best bowlers at World Cup cricket, was amazing. And for me, that straight 6 over his head will always will be etched in my memory, and it was a standout shot, and if I may call it a shot.
And to think that this was all happening in front of 90,000 people. The atmosphere was electric. This was a big match, the opening match for India and Pakistan. We knew that this was going to be important to set the momentum going forward. The other thing being how important this was for Virat Kohli personally in this journey of his, where he struggled coming into the tournament. He was scoring runs. But we've said this so often, sir, that with Virat Kohli, you needed this kind of a Virat-esque innings, really, for people to believe that Virat Kohli is really back, that the king is back. And this innings just made it very clear to the world that this is why Virat Kohli is so special.
Absolutely. I mean, the knock he played against Pakistan is unbelievable. The best knock of the entire tournament, if I would say. But the thing is, Virat has found a method. He's gone back to his own Virat ways, where he builds an innings. He plays the role of a sheet anchor, which he has kind of lost his way. And then he accelerates in the last 5 overs. Even first 15 overs, if he's there, he will also strike with the strike rate of 100 and over. But last 5 overs, he probably goes with 150, 160. So it evens out to 130, 35, a strike rate of 135, which is good enough. But the good thing what he does is he has he has found old Virat. The vintage Virat is back. And he's holding Indian team together. He might not be as explosive as Surya Kumar or Hardik Pandya, and he's not trying to follow them. He's going with his own methods, which made him such a huge star. I think he was phenomenal in this World Cup. The way he batted, the way he kept the innings together, because the top order was failing miserably, game in and game out. So he was the only one who held us together.
Yeah.
So our hats off to him, and I would say the vintage Virat is back.
Absolutely. And also, a while back, before going into this tournament, nobody would have believed that he would have come out to be the highest run scorer of the tournament. To think that here was a man who was struggling, who had seen the lowest of his lows, his form had been criticized, and rightfully so. He wasn't scoring too many runs, or as many as one expects from Virat Kohli. He turned it around at 296 runs, averaging 98.6 and strike rate of 136. It's phenomenal for Virat Kohli. Unfortunately, he wasn't supported enough by the Indian openers, and that's where the problem was. Okay, then we move on to another topic that we've discussed in this World Cup, and one that just baffles us. And in this particular World Cup, sir, we knew the problem with South Africa, but it was the manner in which they choked again. It was a match which was theirs to lose, and boy, they lost it. And just the way they lost it. I mean, the match was very much in balance, but just South Africa found a way to lose to Netherlands.
They find methods. If you look at the time they have come back to world cricket, they have been finding ways to lose the matches. Be it a rain, be it a death rule, or maybe not calculating enough. Boucher hitting a six and forgetting one more run is still needed. So all these things, they found ways of losing a match. And as we all say, they are chokers. They are also very good players. They were all #1 team who were undefeated in the World Cup. So they are very good in bilateral series, triangular series. But the moment ICC tournament comes in, then they are sitting down. So, they're waiting to fail. They are the choker stack sits very, very comfortably on their head. And even now skipper Bama said we have to live with it till they turn it around. So they now they are very comfortable with the choker stack. Maybe they were hurting before, but no more.
Yeah. I mean, Netherlands scored, 158 for 4, and Ackerman and Tom Cooper, they batted well for them. South Africa kept losing wickets. The other big problem with South Africa throughout the tournament was Temba Bavuma's horrid form, which continued. And one thought that maybe he was going to be able to score some runs, but that really was the bigger problem with South Africa, sir. They may have choked in that game, but, there was a build-up to that, and which was that the captain was struggling, and how?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he led from front, if I may say. And it reminds me of a dialect by Shashi Kapoor saying, "Ke mere paas maa." And I think South Africans must be saying, "Ke hamare paas babu maa." So I would say that definitely he was the one. I don't know why and how he became the captain of South Africa. He might be a good one-day player, a good test player, but when it comes to T20 cricket, he's found wanting, and he does not deserve it. It shows why the no franchise even picked him in the Premier League, South African Premier League. Can you imagine a country captain not being picked by any franchise? They said you might like him, you might make him the skipper, but we don't want him.
Yeah.
So so definitely he was a huge, huge liability, which probably cost them the game, cost them the top.
The moment then in that match was that Roloff van der Merwe's stunning catch to dismiss David Miller. He turned back the clock, sir, in the way he took that catch, which then, you saw then in the next ball, you saw Wayne Parnell getting out. They just couldn't control their batting from there on. That was another moment. We've also we've got to touch upon how some of these smaller nations, minnows, have done in this tournament. Right from the beginning, from the very first match with Namibia shocking Sri Lanka in the qualifiers. Of course, we'll talk about Pakistan versus Ireland, England versus Ireland, and Pakistan versus Zimbabwe. But this tournament showed that the gap's closing. And they're all doing very well. And I think that is another thing that stands out about this tournament.
Yes, but may shorter the format, more dangerous these minnows become. And not to forget, Van der Merwe had a point to prove to South Africa. He had played for South Africa. Probably he thought he has not been treated well by South Africa.
Yeah.
So probably that catch probably brought all his emotions out. And he must be desperate to beat South Africa. And with that catch, he turned things around. And how? So definitely that is what it is. And but it shorter the format because you have to keep the intensity for just 20 overs.
Yeah.
20 overs, two good overs can turn the game around. Be it in bowling, be it in batting. So that is why every big team has to be a bit careful. That is why we saw so many upsets. Because we took probably those minnows lightly and had to pay the price.
Yeah. Okay. Now, one team that that very openly spoke about how a loss to Ireland hurt them, and maybe that really was instrumental in the turnaround that we saw in the eventual champions England. So that's the other big moment when England, pre-tournament favourites, go into a match against Ireland. And they lose it by Duckworth and Lewis while chasing, while knowing very well what the pass score was, and yet were unable to win that game. And that really, sir, was a wake-up call for England. From there on, a couple of things that stand out for me about that. One, that Jos Buttler very clearly said that this loss should hurt. That it should hurt. There's no point sweeping this under the carpet. We need to feel the hurt for us to do better. We didn't play well. Our bowlers struggled. Remember, the bowlers really were, in the first half, were bowling well. But, let Ireland get away to a good total. And from there on, of course, the batters struggled as well. But he said that this is not the team that I expect. I need better performances from my players. And I feel like that's something that stands out about Jos Buttler, the captain, and how the turnaround happened for England.
And he led from front.
Yeah.
After that, he started to form. That game, he got out deep. He got out probably the first ball itself. So he led from front after that. And maybe it was a good wake-up call for them. Because Irish are always, they always play their best cricket, especially against England. Even in the one-day World Cup, they beat England. So say they're doing it quite regularly. And they were tempted, believe you me, because a lot of their cricketers play in county. They play against all these English players. So they're not intimidated by these English batters or English team. So they play best of their ability. And England probably will be tentative. They were not warmed up to the tournament. And before they could warm up, they were beaten. And it was kind of a good wake-up call for them because when they were shaken out of their slumber and how they came back and won the tournament.
That's right. The other thing, though, that stands out, sir, is this acknowledgement when you don't play well, which a lot of times we don't see with captains, especially in a World Cup. I don't know how captains want to be approaching that because they also don't want to pull their team down by saying that, look, you guys were terrible today. But having said that, the fact that, Jos Buttler went out and spoke about it, I mean, he was visibly upset by the team's performance and saying that Ireland are expected to give you the competition, But at no point should England lose a game like that. And that's where the problem lies. And he says, let it hurt. You know, I want my players to feel the hurt. And to me, that was that really stood out. I don't know if other captains can do it. I don't know, for example, will Rohit Sharma ever acknowledge the fact that, you know, it wasn't India's bowling that did them in the semi-final, but the batting. What I'm saying is the honesty that one sees from the captain and how it's conveyed to the team as well, that look, you all are responsible, and we as a team, not just you all, we as a team, we need to pick ourselves up.
See, the thing with Butler is he has the firepower to lead. And if you tell Williamson, he might, if he goes hammer and tongs at his team, they might be smart, believe you me. And same with Rohit Sharma. If you're not performing, you cannot ask for too much from your side. And you should have the game. Like Babu Ma, what can he ask from his team? Because he's not performing.
Yeah.
You know, so that is because Josh Butler had the game. He knew he can turn things around with his own bat, with his own steam. So that is why it gave him belief. Plus, I think they are not stars. You know, they are big players, but they are not stars. When you talk about Rohit Sharma, he has not got out of that aura of him being a star, a superstar. Yeah. You know, so he hasn't got out of it. He still feels, I have done nothing wrong. It's the team, rest of the other 10 guys are not performing. Forgetting that he's not performing at all. He's been a liability in this entire tournament. Yeah. So the fact is, you know, like that shows how he's blaming the bowlers. I agree, the bowlers didn't bowl well, but what about the batting? Yeah. You know, till 10 overs, you were 62. Yeah. Except for that heroics by Hardik Pandya, you wouldn't have been gone past 140. So that tells you the mentality of the Indian cricket team and the mentality of the world champion.
Okay, the last two moments, sir, before we wrap this up. The big one was, which I thought was the biggest upset, in the way Pakistan lost to Zimbabwe in the last over, on the last delivery. It was incredible to watch, you know, this moment for Zimbabwe. And Pakistan, again, in balance, completely in control of the game, and just somehow find a way. I mean, Pakistan needed 43 of 39 deliveries, and they had 7 wickets in hand, and still committed harakiri and lost from there. Brad Evans bowled the best over of his life. 11 were needed of the last over, and he defended that. It was incredible scenes in that match against Zimbabwe.
See, ma'am, the problem with Asian batters are we are so used to playing on smaller grounds. We love to clear the field. We are not good runners, which Virat is. You know, if you look at the entire Pakistan middle order, be it Iftikhar, be it, you know, Rizwan or Babar Azam, they like to clear the field. Once they play a few dot balls, then they like to clear the field. But in our big Australian grounds, it was not possible. Yeah. So that is what hurt. You know, then probably the good thing for them was the middle order came to the party. But the fact was, losing to Zimbabwe, they couldn't believe it. And the harakiri only happened because when you're trying to clear the field, you're not trying to rotate the try. So when you know it is almost run a ball, why would I go for boundaries or over boundaries? I should go and stick around, take it deeper, and last 1-2 overs. 1 over will definitely come for 10-15 runs, and it'll be game, set, and match. So somewhere along the line, the game plan, the management of the game is very difficult, which Virat has. That's why he's such a successful guy. Be it small boundaries, bigger boundaries, it doesn't make a difference. But the rest of the common, ordinary batters, it does struggle. Cost them the wicket.
Okay, then the last and the biggest moment, England winning the World Cup, and clearly, undoubtedly the best team of the World Cup, the most balanced team, sir, and now showing the way to other teams and how to play T20 cricket. I think a lot of teams, after seeing England's performance from here on, will follow suit in their template that they follow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now we have to look around for some all-rounders. Yeah. We need, they had 5 to 6 all-rounders. You know, it is game of all-rounders. You need all-round skills. You know, if your bat doesn't fire, then you should be able to bowl. Or if not, then you have to be a brilliant fielder. So somewhere along the line, And plus you have to have some big hitters, up the top, especially in the first 6 overs, you have to take advantage of the power. Power play is a winning and losing of the entire game. If you look at the same final, both the same finals were decided in the power play itself, and even the finals was decided in the power play itself. So power play is going to be very, very vital, and you need to shortlist the guys who can take advantage of the power play.
Yeah.
And plus, you have to think on your feet. Yeah, you cannot be rigid, conservative. Yeah, I'll go with my. It is an English way. Now India is following the English way, whereas England has moved miles and light years ahead of us.
Absolutely.
So definitely, somewhere along the line, you have to have people who can take the game on. You have to find some all-rounders, and probably if you got two wicketkeeper batters, have them. You don't have to have definitely Deepak Hooda will play or KL will play or somebody else. When you have the likes of Ishan Kishans and Sanju Samsons, let them play and let them let loose. Let loose. First 6 overs, target is 50 runs. If you even lose 1 or 2 wickets, doesn't matter. We'll go at it. And then you should have a plan in 6 and 14 overs where you can accelerate a bit. And then in the last 5-6 overs, you should have those big hitters who can turn things around. And then not to forget, we have to find some genuine bowlers. Bhuvi is past his best. Shami probably past his best.
Yeah.
Bumrah, yes, he comes back. Then you have got Arshdeep, luckily. Then hopefully you can go for Umran Malik, Mohsin Khan. There are a whole lot of them. Lot of the Kuldeep Sain. There are a whole lot of them. So you should trust the youngsters if you want to make an impact in the next World Cup.
Absolutely, and not let your best leg spinner sit outside. Instead, play
Not
in
at all,
all the
not at
matches. Okay, I think it's time for us to wrap this up. Hope you enjoyed this show. Ashok sir, thank you so much for talking to us. That's it then. Hope you like those top 5 moments. If there are some moments that you would like to add to this, do let us know in the comment section below. That's it from us. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.